I start out by saying I've been missing you, or do you want to be truthful? No, this is one of Nate's most exciting days of the years. Is kind of the summer press conference. So I told him we could fit it in. So it's good to see you guys. Obviously, been an eventful off season. As they all seem to be, and we feel great where we're at, and we're refreshed. Reloaded and excited for what lies ahead.
We talked to Adia this week about this whole thing. Every summer is going to be like this. Big roster turnover. You're still recruiting for this coming season. I mean, have you just come to accept that that's the way it's going to happen?
Well, I mean, we're going to see. I'm not. I'm not great at speaking in definitives or superlatives on this stuff because, obviously there's been a lot of changes, and changes can be a good thing, and you just have to figure out how to, how they're going to work for you and your program, how they're going to work for your players, and, but I'm going to double down more than ever on, recruiting great guys and building great relationships with them, and really investing in the players in our program, and doing the best job we can to build a great culture that's sustainable. I'm not going to be, nothing's going to veer me off that path.
Is it true, or do you anticipate a lot of springs like this specifically where you're not sure until the spring and then you're waiting to see maybe even guys come back from the draft and go in the portal? It just seems like it's
well, I think we all have short memories, and so obviously there's a lot of movement, but I'm not going to try to predict what's going to happen at the end of next year. I'm just going to try to do the best job I can to build the best team right now, and we'll deal with what comes with that.
Caleb Love happen, and what does he bring to your team?
Well, obviously Caleb had made a decision to go somewhere else, and we were kind of involved with him early, and nothing wrong happened the first time around. It just, I think he had a previous relationship with Michigan, and they had recruited him out of high school, and he went there, and they weren't able to work it out academically for whatever reason, and we got his stuff, and he's a solid student, and the University of Arizona had no problem putting together a plan for him, and so we were fortunate. Caleb's obviously a proven player, and he's been great. He's been a real joy to be around, and been a great teammate and fun to work with, and we're going to operate on that plane. We haven't seen anything different.
How does his experience help you guys out?
Well, he's just a really good player. I don't know how many guys you could say that have scored 30 in an Elite Eight game, and then in a Final Four game, 28 points. He's obviously, you got to be a good player to do that. So he's accomplished. He's been there, done that, and but also he's been on the other side of it where things have gotten tough, and maybe fairly or unfairly, he's been in the crosshairs of criticism in the media, and we look forward to integrating him into our program, and making him a part of our culture, and helping him have a great experience. That's all we're focused on.
The issues that he had with the credits, did you know you could overcome that even before he had decided to go to Michigan, or was that something you have to?
No, we were unaware. We did not get far enough in the recruitment the first time around to get involved with his transcripts and stuff like that. But we got him, and there was nothing shocking or nothing surprising on our end. So it was kind of just a transfer as usual for us.
Does the number of players that you get, after the season's over and for this season, is that changing the way you work through the summer and trying to get these guys to get to know each other on the court, off the court? How is that?
Well, I guess to me, this seems easier than 2 years ago. 2 years ago, everybody was new, including me. So I'd never worked with any of the guys. So like I said, I think you deal with what's in front of you, and there's never any reason to panic. We got great guys, we got good players, and I think we've had a really good off season so far, and we're probably going to take a break here for a couple weeks and kind of everybody get away from each other, get a little bit of rest, and then come back and see if we can make a next push, kind of mid-July.
The last couple of years, Tommy, you're a pieces fit kind of guy. How does this team kind of fit?
Well, I think we got a lot of pieces, and I think they fit well together. I don't think we got a lot of guys with jagged edges. So I think we got guys that complement each other, and I think we have a team that's going to have the ability to play incredibly hard. As always, we're gonna strive to play incredibly unselfish and very aggressive. So, I feel really good when I look at our roster and how certain individuals complement each other.
A lot of coaches want versatility and a line of versatility in their roster. Do you think you've found that in the guys you've added?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you tell me a coach that doesn't want versatility, I mean, I'd love to hear what he thinks. Of course, you want a lot of players that can do a lot of things, and yeah, I mean, I think we have that. So, I mean, I think we have guys that are going to be good two-way players, and I think we have a chance to be really, really good defensively, and that's going to be a point of emphasis for sure.
On arriving here, and when do you anticipate having the full allotment together?
I would say, probably towards the end of July. We have some of our younger international players playing in some international competitions. So I mean, I think, if I look at this list yet to arrive, Krivas hasn't been here yet. Morauskas hasn't been here yet, and Martinez hasn't been here yet. But I think, we'll have all those guys at some point towards the end of July.
And speaking of international competition, you got Philip playing for Serbia and Kylan for the U.S. I mean, can you speak on those experiences, what you're expecting for them?
Yeah, I mean, those are awesome. I mean, it's awesome opportunities to represent your country, and in a really, well-respected event. I mean, the under-19 World Championships are, these guys have a chance to get an experience and make memories of a lifetime. I think both guys, are looking to be key contributors on their team, and I think everything tips off tomorrow. I mean, if I'm got my calendar in my head right, and I don't know, I might even like to try some Hungarian food in the next week or so. So who knows? Maybe that'll happen.
How does last season and this summer help out Kylan Boswell get ready for this year?
Well, I think it allowed Kylan to go through something that I think as a coach, I knew was coming, but maybe he wasn't. Just there's gonna be a little bit of struggle, and struggle is part of the development process, and he went through it early, and he got through it well. And part of his struggle too was recovering from the injury, but he really, obviously took off towards the second half of the season, and he continued to make that progress in the off season, and I think even with the U.S. team, he continues to show that. So I just think having that struggle in your back pocket puts him a step or two ahead of most other kids his age coming into college.
I mean, what level of surprise was there for you, if at all, at the fan base and the craze that they got into when maybe the offseason didn't get off to the way that they thought that it should be?
I mean, that happened. I was unaware. I mean, I just had my head down and was working, and I got a trust in myself and in our program and in our staff that things are always going to turn out. And we just worked day to day and kept the faith, and I think we ended up in a great spot.
How did the recruitment of Keshad Johnson go, and how did it end up that you get to attend his graduation party?
Well, Keshad's he's a great guy. I mean, as of all the guys are, but he just has a real, special ability to make teams better, and he's just an amazing, high character person. And we were kind of going back and forth as his recruitment, and he'd asked us, hey, if we do this, and would you guys be able to attend my graduation ceremony up in the Bay Area? And we told him the only way we could do it is if he signed, and that's because that's true. And so he signed, and so we headed that way, and it was really cool. I mean, he's the first person in his family to graduate from college, and it was awesome to meet everybody and his families. I mean, Mikhail and Tucson are going to love him. I mean, they're awesome people, and they come with great energy and positive spirit. So, and then we were in the neighborhood, and Andre, decided to pop in, and I think that was really cool.
So he had gone through the draft process and decided to come back, and so did Pella. What kind of feedback did Pella get?
I mean, Pella really didn't, he didn't get too far into the draft process. And, I mean, Pella, we've had a lot of conversations on where he's at as a player, and, we really, really value Pella. He's a really good player, and, the exciting thing about him is there's still steps to be taken, and just, everyone kind of comes into their own at their own time. And I think Pella is primed to have an amazing, fourth year in college here next year.
As far as Pella got, is it for him more just informational? Let me get some information from, and the ability to talk to people to find out where he's at?
I mean, maybe a little bit of that, and I think the other thing is, I think sometimes these guys need a trial run at, envisioning themselves as NBA players. And so, you have to, there's no doubt in my mind that Pella's an NBA level player. And I mean, I've always thought that. And, but now, they got to believe it. And I think sometimes putting your name in, lets you know that you're maybe closer than you think, for some of these guys. And maybe other guys, it makes them think that, realize they're not as close as they think. But for Pella, I think he realizes he's closer than he thinks. And I know he's primed and ready to come back and have a great year.
So, Philip, Serbia hasn't, I don't think they've announced that. Have they? Okay. I didn't know. Philip is definitely there, and then Krivas is due 20 European?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's still happening with him, too.
Yep, it's still happening.
Tommy, back in the day, players left because they're either unhappy, playing time, whatever. Nowadays, even good players are leaving, NIL's involved. What's the reason why so many are leaving? It's just maybe your
Well,
thoughts.
I mean, I think, I think what you're seeing in college basketball right now is just a real interesting window, and I think everybody's focused on the NIL and the transfer portal, but I think one of the most interesting aspects is you're in this COVID window still, where guys are getting an extra year of eligibility. So you literally are having, 20% potentially more players in your pool. And so I think that just creates roster movement, and I think, some guys are getting, longer in the tooth in their careers and getting deeper, so, maybe they want to explore other opportunities, and maybe, certain schools, the NIL's situation's not great, and others it's doing better, so guys want to see kind of where they fall and what advantages they can take, what opportunities they could take advantage of, I guess. To me, that would be it. But I honestly think that there is going to be a cooling down, and the waters won't be so choppy here in their near future in college basketball.
How do you want people to remember Kerr Kriisa and what he meant to this program?
Well, I mean, Kerr's a special guy, and I love coaching him. I mean, his spirit was contagious, and he really helped this program. He helped me really kind of help establish this program and build a great foundation. And, he was a part of, tons of wins, and he impacted numerous games. And a lot of the games, he was the deciding factor. So I have no doubt in my mind Kerr is going to be successful in basketball, whether it's at another school or, professionally. I mean, he's just a really good basketball player. So, I mean, I enjoyed coaching him, and I look forward to following, his career.
Is there somebody who's an expert in recruiting international players and recruits a lot of them? When do you know if a guy's going to be an impact player when he gets here right away, or it's going to take a couple years?
Well, I mean,
Recruit him, or the first practice? How do you?
There's lots of probably data points you could go to, but everyone might be a little different. And I mean, I've always tried to give international guys a little bit of grace, a little bit of time to adjust. It might take a year, and let's face it, you recruit a kid internationally, you're not getting to watch them play as much. You're not getting to, probably deeper into the relationship just because of the proximity. So you don't know everything about them when you get them, and you have to kind of get them in your program and get your hands on them to figure out exactly where they're at. I mean, I think Henry's a good example of that. I mean, Henry's still incredibly talented, and he had a good off season, and I think he's primed and ready to be a significant contributor for our team. It just took him a year to get there, and I mean, I think I was hoping, and I think Henry was probably hoping too, that it would happen a little faster, but it didn't. But that doesn't knock us off our path. I mean, you stay on your path, and you're at where you're at, and so I feel like he's in a good way.
International players, you know, if a fan comes to me and says, hey, which international player are you most excited about? I'm not really sure. You know, I don't want you to rank your players, but is there one guy who, who you think that fans are gonna be really excited about seeing here at McHale next season?
All of them. You don't have to rank them, and neither do I. So, I mean, that'll happen in practice, and we're excited about all those. I think all those guys are winners. The two Lithuanian guys are really talented and have played at a high level. The Spanish kid Martinez, I mean, I think this fan base is going to love him. He's a winner. He plays with fire, and I'm sure he's going to have to get over here and figure it out a little bit. But I think it's going to be really cool in Tucson to have a native-speaking Spanish player. I think that's going to, and he plays with some personality and some charisma. So I'm excited to see Conrad's relationship with Tucson grow.
Compare that to Kerr's personality, the way you talked about that, or like?
I mean, I don't know. We'll find out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he's a winner, and he plays with great spirit and energy, and Kerr's his guy, and Conrad's his guy. So I don't know if there's any other similarities other than that.
You've got 5 games against power conference opponents that you've scheduled. Is this the kind of scheduling you've envisioned?
I mean, yeah. I mean, again, you look at what opportunities become available, and there's a lot of things behind the scenes, ideas floated, and things like that, and you figure out where you're at as a program, and obviously we want to be one of the best programs in the country, so we want to take some swings in the non-conference. I think it's great for our team. I think it's great for our fan base, and I can't predict. There's not like a set formula that we have for it, but I love our schedule. I mean, I think it's really going to be challenging, and there's a lot of great opportunities in it.
Talk about your summer trip, and if you can or can't, can you talk about the importance of having that with the guys coming in new, fresh and all?
Yeah, well, I've never done a foreign tour, so I'm excited for that, and as you guys know, I love to travel and see different places, and I think a lot of the details, specifics are still getting worked out, but we know we're going to be going to Israel and we're going to Abu Dhabi, and I think it's going to be. I think the competition is going to be great. I don't think you're going to see us be playing, a bunch of, thrown together all-star makeshift teams. I mean, I think we're going to be playing real teams and real games and real venues, and I think that's really valuable for us. I'm looking forward for one, just a life experience for our guys. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been to Israel, but if you haven't, you got to go. Amazing. I haven't been to Abu Dhabi. I've been to Dubai, and I've heard great things about Abu Dhabi. I mean, it's extremely unique place, and I think for our guys to go there and get that experience will be something they'll remember more than the games for the rest of their life. And I still think, college needs to be about those things, and you show guys. You show young adults what it is to travel, and maybe, they get a little bug, and I think the more people travel, I think the better, more well-rounded people they become, and the more perspectives they see, and, if that's something I can pass on to my players from me, I would love to do that. So we're going to take this opportunity and hopefully have a great time.
Was the reason you guys never traveled at Gonzaga, or?
Well, sometimes it's hard when you have a lot of international guys, and I don't know if you've been to Spokane, but the summers are really nice in Spokane, and the winters aren't. So you probably want to take advantage of staying close to home, when the weather's good. And here, it might not be a bad idea to bounce out of town once or twice in the summer. So just different places.
Has it come about? Apparently Bruce Pearl, maybe a suggestion for the Israel trip. Here's the story of how it came about.
Yeah, well, one of the promoters reached out to me, who we deal with on some other stuff, and she, she's got a great reputation, and I was a little bit familiar because I'd heard that Auburn had done it the year before, and she pitched it to us, and I took it to the administration, and it was something we were able to work out, and I'm thankful for Dave, and Brent, and President Robbins for, making it work for the program.
Anticipating, I think some like USA basketball and some of the senior teams are going to be in Abu Dhabi. Or is there any tie-in with that? Do you anticipate?
Yeah, I don't know all the specifics of everything, but there is going to be some tie-ins and things like that for sure.
And with the guys, you've got, like you said, you've got a number of guys that are in, they're gonna come back here and you're gonna practice and they're gonna go back to Israel, or some of them gonna stay over there?
Well, you know, Zoom's an amazing thing, but it hasn't worked in basketball practice yet. So, I mean, they have to come here to practice, Bruce. I mean, I hate to break it to you. And then they got to get back on that plane so we can play on the game. And I don't know, I saw that Jay Wright commercial where he's coaching on the sidelines on the device, but I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. So.
Jaden Bradley, looks like he maybe fell out of the rotation a little bit. And
Yeah, no,
now-
Jaden's awesome. I mean, Jaden's a really good player, and he's a crazy, you know, hard worker. He's a high character person. You know, we recruited him the first time around really hard, and we're very familiar with him. And you know, we're fortunate it worked out this time around. We're lucky to have him, and you know, we had a great, you know, about 3 to 4 weeks with him here recently, and yeah, I'm thankful he chose Arizona, and hopefully we can, you know, help him, you know, get what he wants out of this experience.
What kind of role do you anticipate? Would he be kind of a combo guard, or?
Well, you know, I mean, to be honest with you, Bruce, we haven't like really, you know, set roles or anything like that yet. To be honest, we haven't had more than 5 guys, really, you know, guys that'll probably be in the rotation in the gym at one time. So, you know, but we're all going to get together and, you know, and we're going to work it out. I mean, I think the exciting thing is we have a lot of good players that are great guys, and you know, we'll kind of figure out how the pieces fit together. But I see all these guys being significant contributors, and you know, and KJ Lewis has been great. I mean, he's I think our fan base is, you know, for whatever reason, you know, there wasn't, you know, a lot of to do about KJ, but I think, you know, there should have been, and I think when we see him play over the course of his career, we're going to realize, you know, what a talent he is.
What's Top Bayless's role with the program? Is he still going to be
Yeah,
playing?
we're figuring that out right now. We're figuring out everything with Tote. I mean, obviously, we're extremely happy for Zoo, and you know, we were all together last night, you know, and you know, the back half of that second round is crazy, and you know, I mean, they should probably do a 30 for 30 or a documentary on it with as many moving parts and picks happening every 2 minutes and agents calling players and asking them if they would, you know, if they draft you, would you be willing to be stashed? And, you know, then agents telling teams don't draft him here because we think we got a 2-way there. And it's just a lot of moving parts. And so, you know, I think, you know, with you know, a bit of time to go in the draft, I think Zoo, you know, knew he had that in his back pocket and that's what he wanted to do. And so I think that's what they pursued. You know, him and his agents pursued the opportunity to get a 2-way with Philly as opposed to get drafted by another team. And so I know, I mean, Zoo's awesome. He was, you know, he was a really special moment, you know, for him to get it. And, you know, trust me, there was zero disappointment in the room when his name didn't get called because obviously he knew what opportunity he had and he was extremely grateful and extremely happy.
How do you see him translating to the next level?
You know, I mean, Zoo, he has a knack for, you know, getting stuff done, you know, whether it's in the paint, the basket, transition. So I think, you know, even, you know, when you watched him play a little bit in those, you know, the combine games, you know, you could just see, you put Zoo out there with other good players. I mean, you know, Zoo might not be the guy initiating everything or, you know, making all the highlights or making a bunch of jump shots. But you know, he's kind of the receiving end of a lot of those plays, and he can just catch the ball and lay it up, and there's a value in that. That's a lot harder to do than people think, and the way he runs the floor, I think he creates easy opportunities for himself and his teammates. So, you know, I'm interested to see. But you know, I mean, hey, like a lot of these guys, you know, you're there, but now the real challenge is in front of you. You got to go at that level with the best players in the world, and you got to make it happen. And I'm excited to see Zoo's journey. I mean, Zoo could have a jump in him. I mean, you put him in that environment, I think he could. There's another jump in his game, and hopefully he could access that.
He said he was a quicker Sabonis, not maybe it's all around good as Sabonis at this point. What would do you see that at all? Or what?
I mean, I don't know when he said that, but I mean, well, okay, but here, he's Lithuanian. That checks the box, right? He's left-handed. I've coached both of them. I guess there's a couple common denominators there, but I mean, I think Zoo's his own guy, and you know, Zoo's good enough to make it, but like any guy in that situation, the margin of error is really thin, and so hopefully he can, you know, do the work, make the progress, and find the opportunity, and it kind of everything kind of aligns because that's what has to happen. It's really, really hard to do.
Were you guys with Cedric and Courtney as well? Have you heard anything about them?
I haven't heard about specifically what they're doing. I know they had a number of workouts for a number of teams. We're still waiting to see, if they landed on a summer league roster or, if they get an Exhibit 10 or something like that. But I'm confident that all three of those guys will have, long, successful professional basketball careers. And, whatever level that ends up being remains to be seen. But from me, I just look at their ability to stick and staying power, whether it's, high level in Europe or, the Asian market's getting a lot better now, or in the NBA, or even the G League. So I think all those guys have possibilities to have long careers. And, they were around here a lot this offseason, and we're thankful they played for our program, and they'll always be part of our family. And, hopefully, next year we'll see them around a lot. We've had Justin Kyer's been around a lot. He only played here 1 year, but, it's a place, he spends a lot of time in the offseason. So hopefully those, Courtney and Cedric, and Zoo do the same thing.
Break down the two Lithuanian guys a little more. I mean, it seems like very unique in their own ways. Like, and
Well,
what kind of impact do you think with them?
Yeah, Krevis, Krevis is a center. I mean, he's a big guy with a big body. He's got good hands. I think he's got an ability to be a creative player. With his passing and ability to read the game, and I think he's a guy that impacts the game with great hands and size. I think he's got a really bright future. And Morauskas is, really aggressive, probably combo forward. He plays facing the basket, out on the perimeter, and, he's got good size and good strength, and he's very aggressive and he's very physical. So, he's kind of got a knack for scoring, and he kind of plays with that chip on his shoulder. So, hopefully that's enough of a separator on the two for you.
His club loaned him to another team so he could play in the senior league in Lithuania. How good is that league, and is that playing in that competition going to help him?
Yeah, playing in the competition will help him for sure. The league is very good. It's a solid European league with, some really good, traditional powers at the top. And I just think for him to go out and, get the experience of playing those games and traveling across the continent, playing against men, will do nothing but help him.
You've talked about before, but just in general about recruiting international guys and the benefits of that. It seems like you said, you anticipated 50-50 split about, I think, and that's what it's been. Is it maybe even more so to have that piece in this day and age where those guys are maybe going to be a little more stable?
Obviously, if you're comfortable recruiting over there and you kind of know the lay of the land, it gives you an opportunity to maybe look at more potential guys for your team. And a lot of these European guys make decisions later rather than earlier. So, so for me, it's a natural thing to do for me. But I can see maybe in this day and age how it can continue to be an advantage.
And there's been in what ways do you see that? The fact that maybe they're not going to transfer every year, that kind of thing. Is it different mentality?
I think that transfer deal is going to be a case by case basis. I don't know if we're going to see any trends there, like international guys transfer more than American guys. I don't know about that, but no. I just listen. I'm comfortable coaching them. They're good players. They're great team basketball players, and I think having a mix of international players and American players is. It's a sweet spot to being successful. It's something I'm definitely comfortable with.
Anything else? What's your schedule like? If you guys go what, early August maybe to Israel? Like, are you planning a few weeks of practice here? You get those 10 practices? Or,
yeah, basically, you got a lot of time in the summer now. With 8 weeks and being able to get on the court with them, 4 hours a week. That time adds up, and then you're going to practice a little bit before. But by we're not going to go into this foreign trip and try to be in perfect game shape and you know, and you know, trying to be, you know, perfectly polished. You know, we're gonna go over there and play a lot of guys and just get some experience, and you know, we'll learn from the good and from the bad from it.
Games do you anticipate playing there, or could you have some like friendly type of deals where they're?
Well, my guess would probably be 3 games. Yeah. Well, hey, all I got to say is thank God we have Jason Shearer up watching our recruits. Like, I mean, whew. And a lot less questions. All right, guys.